Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're dialing in from. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this content helpful. Okay, today we're going to be discussing about chapters 13 to 23 from the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach. And we had already covered the first 12 chapters, so today we are covering this ones from chapter 13 to 23. These chapters are mainly on advice on daily life. So in these chapters, you will see a lot of scriptures talking about friendship and relationships. So there will be scriptures that tell us how to choose friends wisely. They also talk about the importance of loyalty and also the dangers of flattery or foolishness also. We'll also talk about family and social duties. You'll see scriptures talking about honoring parents, the responsibilities of children, and the importance of good leadership. We'll also see scriptures that address financial matters. What attitudes we should have towards wealth, generosity, and even dealing with the poor or poverty. We'll also talk about behavior and ethics. I think this is very timely, especially for those in the US and actually everybody on the planet, because as you hear the people saying, when the US sneezes, everybody catches a cold. So we will look at scriptures from these different topics. Now, with that, I am going to switch screens here and go straight into the actual text. And I will be sharing or reading some text from on here. So I will not read all the texts in those chapters, but just some of the ones that I highlighted that will address those topics that I mentioned. So the first one that you see there, he who touches pitch will be defiled. We all know what pitch is. It's not a moisturizer. It's not something that enhances your looks. It does the opposite. The idea there is that, you become like those you associate with. If you're a fellowship with a proud man, you'll become like him or her. Okay. Every living creature loves its own kind, and every man loves his neighbor. All flesh associates with its own kind. A man will stick to people like himself. What fellowship would the wolf have with the lamb? So is the sinner to the godly. What peace is there between a hyena and a dog? When a rich man falls, there are many helpers. He who speaks things not to be spoken, and men justify him. Again, like I said, these scriptures are very timely because some of these things are happening right now globally. Some people who are famous or political characters, they will speak things that should not be spoken, and yet men will justify them. He who gathers by denying himself gathers for others. Others will revel in his goods. Don't be mean to yourselves. Enjoy what you're working for. My son, according to what you have, treat yourself well and bring worthy offerings to the Most High. Remember that death will not wait, and that the covenant of Hades hasn't been shown to you. I highlighted that because I've never heard about a covenant of Hades. Don't deprive yourself a good day. Don't let your share of a desired good pass you by. Have fun, enjoy the ride, not just waiting for the destination. Blessed is the man who meditates on wisdom and who reasons by his understanding. I was on a prayer session recently, and the meditation was on meditating. Very powerful indeed. So meditate on wisdom and you'll be blessed, and reason with that understanding that you get. He who fears the Most High will do this. He who has possession of the law will obtain wisdom. This is referring to wisdom. He who has possession of the law will obtain wisdom. If you choose, you can keep the commandments. To be faithful is a matter of your choice. He has not commanded any man to be ungodly. He has not given any man license to sin. I watched during the break somebody who was talking about what sin is, and they described it with a scripture that says sin is the transgression of the law. The Most High does not give us license to transgress his own laws. In a congregation of sinners, a fire will be kindled. In a disobedient nation, wrath is kindled. He judges a man according to his works. The sinner will not escape with plunder. The perseverance of the godly will not be frustrated. Hang in there, everybody. You will not be frustrated. Persevere. He will make room for every work of mercy. Each man will receive according to his works. Works. Like a tempest which no man can see, so the majority of his works are hidden. These are the works of the Most High. What we see as his creation is just a minority of the works. Majority of his works are hidden. In the judgment of the Most High are his works from the beginning. The Most High created mankind out of earth. He gave them counsel, the tongue, eyes, ears, and a heart to have understanding. He filled them with knowledge, the knowledge of wisdom, and showed them good and evil. He set his eye upon their hearts to show them the majesty of his works. And they will praise his holy name, so that they may declare the majesty of his works. He added to them knowledge and gave them a law of life for a heritage. What is this law of life that he gave us for a heritage? He made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his decrees. He's talking about his holiday. Their eyes saw the majesty of his glory. Their ears heard the glory of his voice. He said to them, beware of all unrighteousness. So he gave them commandment, each man concerning his neighbor. Their ways are ever before him. They will not be hidden from his eyes. For every nation he appointed a ruler. But Isolele is the Lord's portion. So the Most High leads Isolele, not a ruler. For every nation he appointed a ruler, but Isolele is the Lord's portion. That's what I understand it to be. Return to the Most High and forsake sins. Make your prayer before his face, offend less. Turn again to the Most High and turn away from iniquity. What is brighter than the sun? Yet even this, the sun, can be eclipsed. So just think about the fact that the Most High is able to eclipse the sun. Who can be greater than one who eclipses the sun? He who lives forever created the whole universe. The Most High alone is just. Who could trace out his mighty deeds? Who could measure the strength of his majesty? Who could also proclaim his mercies? The number of man's days are at the most are 100 years. I know the scriptures in the Bible talk about 70. If you get more than 70, consider yourself lucky. And also there's, I think in Genesis where it talks about the limit is 120. Yeah, it says here, the number of man's days at the most are 100 years. The mercy of a man is on his neighbor, but the mercy of the Most High is on all flesh, reproving, chastening, teaching, and bringing back as a shepherd does his flock. He has mercy on those who accept chastening and that diligently seek after his judgments. On those he has mercy. Learn before you speak. Take care of your health before you get sick. Before you make a vow, prepare yourself. I really laughed at this one because when I thought about it, I think what I experienced in a lot of churchianity was that people made a vow, then they went to prepare themselves. They didn't make the preparations before they made the vow. They did it the other way. Don't go after your lusts. Restrain your appetites. Don't be made a beggar by banqueting with borrowed money when you have nothing in your purse. Wine and women. Okay, let me slow down. This means don't be made a beggar by banqueting with borrowed money when you have nothing in your purse. It's saying live within your means. You don't need to buy spinner wheels and rims for people to see, yet you cannot see them yourself. You don't need to buy a big house just because your neighbor has a big house, just to please people and to look like you're doing okay, but you're doing that in debt. That's what 33 is saying. Verse 2 here in chapter 19, wine and women will make men of understanding go astray. The rest of that expounds on it. He who is hasty to trust is shallow-hearted. This I found to be very, very important for us, especially in this awakening. We come across new information every time. We come across new people all the time. Take your time to build trust. Take your time to untrust. Don't be hasty to trust information or people. Test it with the Spirit. Be brave in this awakening. It will not make you burst. As long as you're on the truth, you're good. All wisdom is the fear of the Most High. In all wisdom is the doing of the law. I think I've beaten that horse enough. Better is one who has little understanding and fears the Most High than one who has much intelligence and transgresses the law. There is a reproof that is not timely, and there is a person who is wise enough to keep silent. There is one who keeps silent and is found wise, and there is one who is hated for his much talk. There is one who keeps silent, for he has no answer to make, and there is one who keeps silent, knowing when to speak. He who uses many words will be abhorred. A man without grace is a tale out of season. I thought this was very important for me because sometimes I'm so passionate and I want to talk about the awakening, but I need to know when, because I might be talking about it in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe that applies to you as well. The destination of a liar is dishonor. His shame is with him continually. He who is wise in words will advance himself. Wisdom that is hidden and treasure that is out of sight What profit is in either of them? You got to bring it out. Better is a man who hides his folly than a man who hides his wisdom. It's not helpful if you're not using it. Flee from sin as from the face of a snake, for if you go near, it will bite you. Supplication from a poor man's mouth reaches to the ears of the Most High, and his judgment comes speedily. When we're reaching out to the Most High and praying, he is hearing it, especially when he sees us as the poor. He who builds his house with other men's money is like one who gathers stones for his own tomb. Don't use people. He who keeps the law becomes master of its intent. He who keeps the law becomes master of its intent. An undisciplined child is a disgrace to his father, and a foolish daughter is born to his loss. A prudent daughter, this one I found it very, very good. A prudent daughter will inherit a husband of her own. I would love for us to discuss that one some more. I think it's very deep. The fact that she inherits a husband of her own. 1. Ill-timed conversation is like music in mourning. Timber girded and bound into a building will not be released with shaking. So, a heart established in due season on well-advised counsel will not be afraid. I think many of you are like that house with timber that's been girded into it. Anyway, he who pricks the eye will make tears fall. He who pricks the heart makes it show feeling. Whoever casts a stone at birds scares them away. If you have opened your mouth against a friend, don't be afraid, for there may be reconciliation, unless it is for insulting, arrogance, disclosing of a secret, or a treacherous blow. For these things, any friend will flee. Before fire, there is vapor and smoke of a furnace. So insults precede bloodshed. When you see bloodshed, just know there's been a lot going on before they got to that point. Don't accustom your mouth to an oath, and don't be accustomed to naming the Holy One. For as a servant who is continuously scourged with will not lack bruises, so he also who swears and continually utters the name will not be cleansed from sin. There is a manner of speech that is clothed with death. Let it not be found in the heritage of Jacob. For all these things will be far from the godly, and they will not wallow in sins. Don't accustom your mouth to gross rudeness, for it involves sinful speech. 2 sorts of people multiply sins, and the third will bring wrath. A hot passion, like a burning fire, will not be quenched until it is consumed. A fornicator in the body of his flesh will never cease until he has burned out the fire. All bread is sweet to a fornicator. He will not cease until he dies. A man who goes astray from his own marriage bed says in his heart, "Who sees me?" But we know the Most High sees him. All right, that's it. Let's get into some discussion. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this content helpful.